The Mitsubishi Evo GSR is a rally-bred street machine with a sophisticated all-wheel drive system that's surprisingly capable off-road. But is it good enough to go head-to-head against a dedicated dirt machine like this Honda CRF450, piloted by none other than AMA champ Jake Zemke? We're here at the half-mile track at Paris, California to find out. Let's hit the dirt. Motorcycles are smaller, lighter, and pack far more performance punch than most of their four-wheeled foes. But here's what intrigued me about this particular competition: the dirt. Superior power-to-weight ratios help bikes in a straight line, but that advantage becomes balanced when motorcycles hit the corners, as grip becomes limited by their two tiny contact patches. Pitting these very different vehicles against each other at Paris Speedway's half-mile oval, we sought to answer this age-old question with a twist by stacking the cards a little differently. They've struggled lately in the US market, but Mitsubishi lays claim to a rich history in rally racing, which helped them develop the effective and surprisingly sophisticated drivetrain they call Super All-Wheel Control. The setup in this $35,000 GSR model offers a torque vectoring active yaw control, which we'll switch off for our efforts here in the dirt. Under the hood is a four-cylinder that produces a relatively humble 291 horsepower from only 2 liters of displacement. But when that big single turbocharger kicks in, let's just say those modest numbers don't do it justice. Jake Zemke's ride is a 2010 Honda CRF450R with a lowered suspension for flat-track racing, special flat-track tires, and an aftermarket exhaust system. All in, you could replicate this bad boy at home for under 10 grand. While its single-cylinder 449cc engine produces only around 50 horsepower, this aluminum-framed bike weighs under 250 pounds, making it accelerate like a missile. This Honda's purpose-built attributes give it a strong shot in these rather specific conditions. Okay, we're going to try these on street tires first and see how they handle the dirt. To get acquainted with the course, Jake and I hit the track for some practice laps. He switched from knobbies to flat track tires, and I started off on the Evo's stock rubber, which is geared for the street. First thing you notice about the dirt, you expect it to be more like ice or snow, but it's actually surprisingly grippy. These street tires, though, are transmitting a ton of shock into the cabin. Really tight ride. Then the other thing that gets you about the surface is it's actually really uneven. I'm trying to find a line through the turns that works best. Sometimes it's grippy and nice, and sometimes that just yields to a really slippery section which sends you scarily close to the concrete barrier. It took a few laps to get used to the alien conditions of the dirt oval. But as I flung the Evo around faster and faster, the only psychological roadblock to driving harder was the feeling that I was beating up the Evo. The ruts and bumps along the course were seriously challenging the car's suspension. And of course, I didn't want to stuff the thing into the wall. Okay, here we go, bike versus car. Watching Jake's pace gave me cause for concern, as his far lighter bike seemed to rocket across the track. But an interesting thing was happening in the corners. Because of the rough course surface, Jake had to carefully pick his line and be patient on the gas before powering out for the straights again. Though preliminary lap times revealed the car was slightly edging out the bike, this was still going to be a close one. Can't wait to see how dirt tires handle this. These street tires are doing surprisingly well. The lap times were close, so I decided it was time to ditch the Evo's totally inappropriate summer road tires for something a bit more competitive. After all, Jake's flat track tires weren't doing me any favors, since it's virtually impossible to find dirt-friendly tires in the Mitsubishi's 18-inch wheel fitment. We had our friends at Yokohama create these custom, hand-cut S-Drive tires, which were tailor-made to dig into dirt. The street tires may have done better than expected out here on the oval track, but let's see if these dirt tires can help us beat the bike. Right off the bat, these dirt tires feel way more secure than the street tires, needless to say. They're powering through nicely. giving more grip and a better feel for what's going on in the car, rather than trying to shift from second to third and then back down to second for the curves. I'm trying to leave it in third so I eliminate that shift time and try to maximize my speed. These dirt tires almost work too well. I'm trying to slide, but they want to grip. There's worse problems to have though, because my goal today is not only to beat the bike, it's to not kiss the concrete wall. Parts of these packed dirt areas feel almost like gravel. They're so rough. It's really hard on the car to do this, but you gotta remember these cars were rally bred. The Evo's feeling a lot more sure-footed with these dirt tires. It seems to power through the dirt more, claw in more effectively, and get us where we need to go to beat this bike. The thing about this turbocharged engine is you really want to be above 3,000 RPM to just at least start producing boost. Anywhere above there is gravy, but you know, once you get up too high, you just run out of steam. Though our lap times kept dropping, I knew we were still running pretty close to neck and neck. And at the final tally, I put in a best time of 23.74 seconds on street tires and 23.12 seconds on the special Yokohama rubber. A significant improvement of 0.6 of a second. The bike? Well, Jake's best time was 23.80, or just over 0.7 of a second behind the Evo, making the Mitsubishi the winner in this car versus bike face-off. So I was really worried going in that the bike would beat the car. And actually, I kind of wanted the bike to beat because it's, what, under 10 grand? It's like less than a third of the price?
Yeah, it's a little bit cheaper for sure, and maybe under the perfect conditions, you know, if the track was prepped for a motorcycle and not a car, we would have been a little bit better off. But, you know, at the end of the day, the car won.
You just can't beat a bike for bang for buck, though. I mean, this is considered a good bang for buck car, and it's 35 grand.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know, motorcycles are great, whether it be a street bike, a dirt bike, whatever, you can find, I mean, even brand new, the most expensive street bike, you're talking maybe 15 grand for a 1000cc street bike that'll do 180 miles an hour. I mean, you can't beat it.
So did you feel faster on the straights?
No, where I think the difference between the motorcycle and the car, the biggest was on corner entry, because where you really have to brake quite a bit with the car on corner entry, the motorcycle you can just carry that speed into the corner, but then the car is quicker through the middle of the corner because of the track conditions the way they were, especially with this all-wheel drive. You're able to just hammer right back onto that throttle and get going.
I felt like having 4 contact patches gave me a little bit of almost a cheat, because I can apply the throttle way early and just kind of power through and let it pull me through the corner. And I gotta say, the all-wheel drive system works really well on this Mitsubishi. It does its job properly. Once you get it positioned, I think it's almost a no-brainer with this car. You know, you just kind of point it and then turn it, counter steer, and try to drift it through and carry that.
Yeah, I think drifting the car is the perfect term to understand what was going on there, because like I said, I'd want to have a little bit more rear end steering so I could oversteer the car and bring it around in the corner. But it feels like with the all-wheel drive that as you turn in the car, it does feel like you're almost just in a flat 4-wheel drift. All 4 wheels are kind of pointed in the same direction, but yet the car is drifting through the corner rather than having the car sideways through the corner.
Well, it was a good race. Thanks for playing, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm Basem Wasef with Car and Driver. Thanks for watching.